What's going on? My name is Dustin Smith, better known as Bones, and welcome to BonesyTV, where today we are breaking down what might be the best use case for VR that I've ever seen, and that is NHL Sense Arena's new game mode, Game Flow. Now, if you're not familiar with NHL Sense Arena, is an application that is run on the MetaQuest headset. Here I have the MetaQuest 3, but you can use any of the MetaQuest headsets, so it's not limited just to the newest version. And this application is basically an off-ice training tool for hockey players. I'm more into the goalie side of things, but they do have a player side of things, and they actually have a pretty sick new game mode for the player side called Dangle Pro, which is another incredible use case for VR. But this video, we're focusing on the game flow feature for the goalies. And here's how this game mode boils down. To start, you're going to be playing a full game of hockey here. So 3 different periods, but you do have options to select the period length. I usually just kind of stick with the 3-minute periods. That's honestly enough for me to get through a good game. But if you want to add a bit more of a challenge, you can increase the time for the periods. And speaking of difficulty, you have 2 different difficulty levels you can choose from, where you can play against the Little Caesars, which is actually pretty challenging just to start, or you can play against the NPDP Team USA hockey team, which definitely steps the challenge up a bit. Of course, as you can see in the menu selector here, you're going to end up with a lot more different levels to choose from as they start rolling out these different teams that you can play against. But jumping into the gameplay, this is basically a 3-on-2 where you're playing against live shooters that are actually playing out this scenario in front of you, and it really does feel like an actual game. But the part that really makes this game mode feel realistic is how they've figured out a way to kind of keep everything moving like a real game scenario, where if you end up giving up a rebound, it goes into the corner, you have an animated shooter that will come grab the puck and pass it right back into play. And then these live shooters are right back at it, playing out this 3-on-2 scenario. And of course, just like in a real game, if a puck ends up going out of play or something like that, you end up with a stoppage.
The puck is fired out of play for a whistle.
And then the game will continue. But the thing that I really like about how each period starts and how different scenarios begin is you start with a breakout coming into your zone, and then it turns into an in-zone scenario just like it would in a real game. Now, the other challenge that you have to kind of adapt to is having your screens in front. So you end up having an attacking animated shooter and a defending animated shooter kind of hovering around in front of you, and they definitely mix things up a bit, giving you some screens to battle through. Which leads me to another setting that you can turn on or off within this game mode, which is active rebounds. And this is where tracking your rebounds really comes in, because if you give up a rebound right to this animated shooter, he's gonna bury it. So you really have to stay on top of your rebounds and look for that second opportunity. And then of course we get into the point system, where obviously if you give up a goal, you go down a goal. But whenever you make a save, say you catch it in your glove and you hold on to it for a whistle, you end up with a point. Same thing if you grab a rebound and scoop it up and hold on to it.
Stopped by the goalie.
And this might sound simple enough, but really, you don't end up with a ton of opportunities to reach out and catch a puck, because sometimes these guys are going to miss the net just like you would see in real life. And sometimes these rebounds are going to get out just far enough that you can't reach them, and the animated shooter is going to come in and scoop it and put it right back into play. But here's where the magic happens. This game mode will put all of your skills to the test, just like in a real game. So now you're going to have an opportunity to really watch the play develop in front of you and look off the puck and see what the passing options are and keep up with these 3 attacking players. Not to mention battling through those screens and trying to keep your eye on the puck and watching the play really kind of move around you. And of course, as you're focusing on your screens, you're also in 3 different stances here, where when the puck is way out high, you're working on being in your higher stance, being able to see everything in front of you, looking off the puck and seeing where the attackers are. And you're also in your regular stance when there's an opportunity to see a puck come at you and make a save. And then every once in a while, you'll have a player come in super tight, and you're gonna have to get low into your deep stance and try to stop a breakaway. Which also brings me to depth management. You're gonna have to manage your depth correctly, where if you get caught out too high and you end up with a pass coming across and you're having to move way too far, you're gonna get burned. So you kind of have to pick and choose when you're coming out and cutting off the angle and when you're a little bit deeper so you can move more effectively. And then, of course, there's those dreaded one-timers, where you really do feel like you're killing a penalty here, and this pass comes across through the middle, and you're having to come all the way across your crease to make a huge save. So simply put, this game mode alone bridges that gap between at-home training and on-ice performance by connecting those dots between the drills to build those skills and your gameplay. Because at the end of the day, you can work on your skills through these drills, but it's really tough to make that translate into your game, and with the game flow mode by NHL Sense Arena, you can bring it all together. Of course, if you're going through this game mode and you find that you're struggling with a specific part of your game, you can dive into Sense Arena's 100+ drills to find something to fine-tune those specific little skills to improve, and just like that, you're becoming a better goalie at home. So let me know what you think about this game mode from NHL Sense Arena, and if you think it would actually help your game. Thanks so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, and as always, we'll see you around.